Okay, round 3. All right, I actually think it's worked this time. So, third time lucky. Welcome back to another Facebook Live yoga video. A couple minutes late today because honestly, my internet connection has been playing up hugely. So just trying to work around that, having to use my data instead, which isn't ideal. But you know, I get it for free anyway. Oh good, it's working. It's all these technical hitches. I've gone this long throughout this lockdown with no technical problems whatsoever, but apparently last week, just so many internet problems because we're all at home using the internet, so I guess they're a little bit swamped. But I'm glad I'm live now, that's helpful. So I did do a really good introduction, I promise, on one of the last ones, but I'm gonna have to do it again now. It's probably gonna lack a little bit of energy. But today we're gonna be working our way up to Bhujapidasana, which is shoulder pressure pose. And it's the first arm balance we come to in the Ashtanga sequence. It's part of the Ashtanga primary sequence and it comes around halfway through. So usually in classes, just because of time, I only teach half primary. So we usually go up to boat. But there's a whole other section after boat that we don't tend to look at all that often in a regular 1 hour class. And the first posture after boat is Bhujapidasana, which is a little bit mean because it is a really tricky arm balance and it's like a test of strength and flexibility. It requires both to be working harmoniously. Obviously the strength comes from the shoulders, the hands, because you're balancing on the hands, and then the flexibility comes from hips, groin, hamstrings, because you are wrapping your legs around your shoulders and then crossing the feet to balance. So a really tricky little posture, and I feel like it deserves a class of its own, and that's what we're going to be doing today. So you will need a strap for this, so just make sure you have that handy. We're going to work with some passive stretches to begin with, so a lot of stuff with our groin and our hips especially. And then we're going to work our way up to some strength building postures, and we're going to be looking at some lizards, which are like massive hip openers and really good to start building energy, heat in the shoulders. And then afterwards we're going to have a look at Bhujapidasana. So it's going to be fun. If you've got any injuries, just make sure you check with your doctor before doing this, and always be mindful as you move through this. This is a complicated posture. What I forgot to mention as well is wrists. We're going to be doing some wrist stretches because number one thing that's going to stop you from getting into this posture, I promise, is getting your hands flat on the floor. It's something that everyone struggles with. So we're going to warm the wrists up with some dogs and wrist stretches. All right. Yes. Third introduction I've done today. Let's do it. There's an energy at it today, honestly. That's the thing with these online classes, is there's so many variables that make them work. Right, I'm done moaning. The radiator's off as well, so you'll be pleased to know there will be no moaning about the heat, and I'm wearing shorts, so it's all good. Anyway, we're going to lie on our backs to begin with. So come onto the backs, bring the soles of the feet together, let the knees fall out sideways today. So we're opening the knees up like a book. This posture is called Reclined Bound Angle, and it's just a fantastic passive stretch into the groin. We're opening up across the pelvis, and we're working into the hips. You can rest the hands on the inner thighs, the belly, or just either side of the body, palms up, whatever. Just find a position that you can maintain, that you're comfortable in. And if this really isn't working for you for whatever reason, you can have the legs straight, you can bend the knees, doesn't matter. And we're going to spend slightly less time here today because I've sort of eaten up time trying to get the video to work. So just start to slow the breath. Inhales and exhales equal in length, breathing through the nose and finding that slow, steady rhythm that's sustainable for you. So at no point are we running out of breath. Always want it to feel quite comfortable, and then just very quickly take your attention around the body, check in, see how you feel. Any areas that you need to be mindful of. So like I say, this posture demands quite a lot from the wrists, so that's just one area you wanna watch out for. And then if something I say doesn't resonate with you, if something's not working for your body, just miss it out, have a rest. Just watch maybe and get a feel for the technique, and you can always come back to it at a later date. So never pushing past what you are comfortable with. Okay, and then we're just going to start. We're just going to begin today. Not much of a rest. We'll have a rest at the end. So as you inhale, very slowly bring the knees together, and then we're just going to take a cat stretch. Point the toes down the mat, arms overhead, make yourself as long as you possibly can. Pointing the feet, lifting the hands, full body stretch, fingertips right down to toes. You may even feel this little arch lift in your lower back. Stretch comes into the tops of the legs. And then exhale, just hug your knees into your chest, rock from side to side, make circles. Now you can make a one big circle with the knees, or if you did want to work into the hips a little bit more, and I suggest doing this because this is a very hippie arm balance, is you can take the knees and make separate circles with the knees. So you start to work around that hip joint. Okay, just keep the back of the head on the floor as you do this, so we're not curling up, upper body's relaxed. And then bring both feet to the floor. So a couple of lying postures first to prepare the body, to prepare the legs especially. We're just going to take the left leg down the mat, left toes pull back, and then push down through the left calf. Take the right shin below the knee. Big inhale, then as you exhale, gently squeeze the right thigh back towards the stomach. So knee to chest pose. So today we can be quite relaxed in that right foot, not doing anything with it. Just gentle effort in the left foot to keep the toes facing the ceiling, and then keeping the shoulders as much as possible, rolling down to the mat. Breath steady, and feeling that stretch in the top of the right leg as well as the groin. So this is a groin stretch. And if your groin is tight, it's going to be really difficult to plant that left calf. So if the left calf is lifted, it's a sign your groin's a bit tight basically. Don't worry about it, but over time as things loosen up, ground in that leg, and then constant but gentle pressure to bring the right thigh back towards the tummy. And we're trying to close the gap between the leg and the stomach. Again, just something that happens over time. Chin tucks in towards the chest so the neck is long, and we're just going to hold it here for a couple more breaths. Okay, and then exhale, just release the leg. Lovely, straighten the right leg, and we'll do the same thing with the left. So gently pulling the right toes back, right toes face the ceiling, ground through the right calf, then take hold of the left shin. Inhale, then as you exhale, just gently squeezing the left thigh back towards the tummy. And then remembering to keep the upper body relaxed, so the chest is broad. Arms a little bit of effort, but not overly tense. And then just seeing if we can maybe close that gap. So a lot of the arm balances in Ashtanga, at least the ones we come to first, so Bhujapidasana, Titibasana and Bakasana, crow pose, firefly pose and shoulder pressure pose, they all require us to be quite small, to be quite compact. So this is a really valuable thing to prepare the body with to begin with. Just trying to bring the legs as far as we can in towards the body, really important. Okay, then exhale, just release, 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 and then we'll take a cat stretch. Point the toes, arms overhead, lengthen. Just a good thing to do. Just lengthen the spine. And then hug your knees into your chest again, making circles or making those separate hip circles, which can be so helpful when we come to our posture later. Either one's good for your lower back though. Okay, and then bring both feet to the floor, and you're going to need your yoga strap for this, so you're going to want to go and locate that. If you're not using a yoga strap, you can use a belt, you can use a dressing gown cord, and we're just going to do this posture once. Padangusasana, but a very passive, very sort of yin style version of it. So we're going to leave the left leg straight, left toes are going to face the ceiling, and again, still seeing if we can ground down through that left calf. We're going to place the right foot in the strap. Like, you've done this before, I always do this one. Just a very good way to get into the backs of the legs, the groin. So, just lengthen the strap so the back of the right arm is going to come down onto the floor, and we're going to keep the shoulder, right shoulder rolling down, back of the head down as well. And then just place your left hand on your left hip. Keeping the left toes facing the ceiling, so left foot active. It's a little bit different in the Ashtanga version. We actually point those left toes, but for today, don't need to worry about that. And then just seeing if we can get the leg, the right leg, as straight as possible. If there is a bend in the knee, okay, maybe lower the leg a little bit, lengthen the strap so you can get that leg straight. And then work the right toes back, breath steady, and we're going to hold it here. So huge stretch in the right calf, right hamstring. You may even feel this towards the glute. Obviously this is the first hamstring stretch we've come to, so you may just want to take it a little bit easier. You know, don't try and yank your leg out the socket first time round. The second time round you can do what you want. Okay, so nice, slow, steady breaths, doing a really good job. Maybe see if you can pull those right toes back a little bit more. So shooting up through that right heel. Little bit of effort in the right quad to help straighten that leg. And then really seeing if you can release any tension in your shoulders. So with tricky postures like this, the shoulders really start to tense up, and so does the jaw. So just letting that area go, totally relaxed. Now, because you're only going to do this once, if you feel like your hamstring can take more of a stretch, feel free to move the right hand higher up towards the foot. Now, if you've done this, the back of the right arm will lift, but we still want to pull that right shoulder down. So don't take the hand closer up towards the foot if it means everything starts getting weird in the upper body, okay? Still keeping the upper body relaxed. Maybe bringing that foot back a little bit, so maybe bringing right toes higher above the face if you shortened the strap. Big old groin stretch, big old hamstring stretch. I mean, go wild. If you want to take hold of the big toe, you can, but that's a little bit excessive for second posture in, but you can do that if you want. But again, if you are taking the toe, same thing. While the back of the arm lifts, we still want to pull that shoulder down. So only take the toe if you can get that movement happening. And now we are going to be working into your hip. So just keep the left hand on the left hip. As we take the right leg out to the right, what's going to happen is your body's going to want to roll over to the right, but we're going to keep that left butt cheek on the floor to isolate the stretch in the right hip. So big inhale here, and as you exhale, very slowly, mindfully, consciously take that right leg out to the right. Now stop as soon as you feel that left hip lift. Okay, so we don't want the body to roll over to the right. What's the point? We're going to lose that stretch on the inside of the right thigh, the right hip. So just bring the right leg higher as soon as you feel that left hip lift. Now if your neck's okay, you're going to turn and look over your left shoulder. And as well, we're trying to push the lower back down. You may have noticed a gap appear. Very common, but just see if you can press that gap down. Doing really, really well. And actually, to deepen this posture, it's not about bringing the right foot to the floor, it's about lifting the toes a little higher up towards the ears. So it's an upward lift with the leg. Obviously a lot of work going on here. See if you can keep drawing that left hip down. So active left leg. Few more moments. Okay, and then have a little look at your right foot. We do need the adductors to wake up, those inner thigh muscles today, because it's really important for this shoulder pressure pose we're coming to. So we're going to wake them up now. Have a look at your right leg. Your right foot's going to stay where it is. You're going to release the strap, and you can just place the hands either side of the body or on the tummy, wherever. Get the hands out of the way. This is all about the right leg. So from here, don't let the body roll over to the right. So keep drawing that left butt cheek down, really feeling the work on the inside of the right thigh now. 5 deep breaths, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now as slowly as you possibly can, because there's a couple of kickers in this, I know. Just see if you can raise that right leg all the way up to the ceiling. Beautiful, and then just take the right leg down, straighten the leg, And give your legs a little shake. Lovely. Okay, well, we've got to do the other leg now. So, this time we're going to leave the right leg straight down the mat. We're going to work the right toes back, right toes face the ceiling, and then we're going to place that left foot in the strap. So we're going to be holding this just for a little while. So remember to begin with, let's just lengthen that strap so the back of the left arm's on the floor. Left shoulder's pulling down, and then place your right hand on your right hip. I say it a lot, but this is my problem hamstring, so you might notice one side feels totally different, okay? So just work with your body. And then work the left toes back once you're in the posture, and see if you can just get that leg as straight, as strong as possible. This is fun, isn't it? I was going to say Monday morning, but it's definitely not the morning, is it? It's 100% the afternoon. Bit of fun, a Monday afternoon. Doing a good job, breath steady. Keeping the upper body relaxed. Keeping the chin tucked in so the neck is long. Feeling that huge stretch. Left calf, left hamstring, maybe towards the left glute. Seeing if you can ground down through the right calf. Okay, and then you do have the option, if your leg feels up to it, to take the strap, shorten the strap, hand travels closer towards the foot, but still plug in that left shoulder down. So while the back of the left arm will lift, left shoulder draws down towards the mat. Potentially bringing left toes a bit higher towards the face if appropriate. Okay, then make sure that right hand's on your right hip. Be mindful as you move. Big inhale here, then exhale, leg comes out towards the left. Stopping whenever you feel that right hip lift. This isn't about getting your foot to the floor. This is about being really controlled with the movements, isolating the stretch in the left hip, left groin, and not allowing the body to roll over towards the left. If your neck's okay, you're going to turn and look over your right shoulder, and then make a conscious effort to press your lower back down into the floor. Doing a lovely, lovely job. Such a good stretch for those inner thigh muscles. Broad across the pelvis. Holding it here, maybe to deepen the posture, lifting left toes a little higher towards left ear, so getting that upward motion. And then we're going to wake the adductor muscles up, have a little look at your left leg, everyone's favourite part, I know it, and then release the strap. Get your hands out the way and then keep the foot in the position it's in. Make sure the body doesn't roll over to the left. So keep grounding the right butt cheek down towards the floor. Breath steady. We're going to hold it for 1, 2, leg shake is normal by the way. 3, just trying to wake those inner thigh muscles up. 4, and 5, up we come, slow as you can. And then take the foot out of the strap. Ooh, alright, a bit of a rude awakening, but you'll thank me later. So take a cat stretch, pointing the toes down on the arms overhead, lengthen, and then last time, exhale, hug your knees into your chest, making circles, making separate hip circles, doing whatever feels good at this point. And then when you're ready, you can pop yourselves up into all fours. Alright, I feel like that's a good little way to wake the hips up. Bhujapidasana, although it's shoulder pressure pose, it really is a hip push. I'm going to say that now, so really important to do this. So we're going to actually come into all fours, and we're just going to do a couple of little wrist stretches, okay? We're going to stretch into the wrist, and then we're going to do another hip opener. Now, really important to be able to get the hands flat on the floor for this posture. I did say at the beginning, this is the #1 thing that's going to stop you from entering. So we're just going to work with that now. So come into all fours. we've got the hands underneath the shoulders and the fingers are spread. Now the fingers in a lot of yoga postures, we want to spread them as much as possible, gives us a better foundation. And then just press into the hands here, feel the strength, okay? Want to really get connected through our hands to the floor. We forget because there's often a lot going on in yoga postures, but feel that connection to the mat. Okay, and then we are going to turn our fingertips to face backwards. So our fingertips are facing the knees, and then we're pressing the palms into the floor. So we've literally just switched the hand positioning, okay? So the hands are facing back. Now at the moment, the hands are underneath the shoulders, and this may be enough of a wrist stretch as it is. But be careful with this, because wrists are very delicate. If you did want to deepen the posture, you're gonna slowly take the weight back as potentially you bend the elbows back, but keep the palms on the floor, all right? So pressing into the palms, taking the elbows back a little bit, then feeling that big stretch come into the inner forearms, holding it here just for a few more moments. Quite a gnarly little posture, isn't it? Doesn't look like much, but quite sore this one. We don't stretch the wrists very often. Okay, and then weight forward, and then just bring the fingers to face forward again, and then we're going to just do a little counter stretch. So now fingers spread underneath the shoulders, and we're not pressing down too heavy in the hands for this, so most of the weight's in the legs, okay? So we're not bearing down into the wrists in this one. So getting the weight into the legs, and then we're just going to come onto the tops of the hands so the fingertips face back. Okay, so obviously if you put too much pressure down, you're going to really hurt yourself. So all of my pressure is in the hips, weight is in the hips. We're just gently pressing the tops of the hands into the floor, and then feeling that huge stretch come up the forearms now. Again, not something we do all that often, so may feel quite uncomfortable. Few more moments. And then just flip the wrists, and then just come back into child's pose very quickly. So feet together, knees wide is going to be helpful for this class. Sinking the bum towards the heels, and then lowering the forehead down towards the floor. Trying to get the bum and the heels as close together as possible so we feel that lovely stretch in the lower back. And at this point you may want to clench and unclench your fists. You may want to do some wrist rolls just to get some sensation back into your hands. A few more moments here. Okay, and then inhale, pop yourselves back up into all fours. Lovely. Lizard. We're going to do an easy variation on posture called lizard, and then later on we're going to do some really hard variations. So enjoy this one. So fingers spread underneath the shoulders. Don't forget about that connection with the floor. And then as you inhale, we're going to step the right foot to the outside of the right hand, and then we're going to scooch our left knee back a few inches, and we're going to let the hips sink down. Okay? I feel like I've got Kino yoga shots at the moment. Does anyone watch Kino's videos? Definitely rocking her vibe at the moment. Okay, so we've got the right knee over the right ankle to begin with, and then we're just letting the left hip sink down. Now, if your left knee gets a little bit sensitive, you can flip the mat over or put a jumper underneath that knee to pad it out. Otherwise, hip sink, chest lift. So really tempting to let the shoulders roll forward in this one, but we're seeing if we can gently draw them together. Pressing into the hands to help with that lift. Looking straight forward to begin with. Right, so loads of stuff going on here. We're opening up into the right hip. There's a stretch on the inner right thigh, groin, and we're working into the left hip flexor. So steady breathing, doing a lovely, lovely job. Okay, we're going to hold it here for 5, 4, deep, slow breaths. 3, 2, and 1. So, either staying here if you want to deepen the posture, and please be mindful of your knees in this one. We're going to just take the right foot out 45 degrees, and then press down through the right foot. Just draws a deeper stretch into that right hip. Now, always being mindful of that right knee, Inhale here, then exhale. If you're doing this, maybe let the right knee fall out to the side so the inside of your right foot lifts. Ooh, and you never felt a hip stretch like it really. It's a big one. So we're still sinking the weight down. And then if you are letting the knee fall just as far as it wants to, we're not forcing it. And if you didn't want to do this, just stay at the option we were working with. So just stay at the previous version. Okay, slow, steady breaths. Lovely. Now, we're going to be holding it wherever you are for 5, 4, you can always change your mind to 3, 2, and 1. So last step of this posture, you can either come back to a gentler variation, you can stay where you are, or if you have the room, you can bend the elbows, maybe come down onto forearms. So it doesn't matter, it doesn't make you better or worse if you can or can't get down onto your forearms. This is very much a patience game. Again, you cannot force the hips to open. This happens over time. I just want to give people some options. So if you can come down onto your forearms and you feel comfortable doing so, do so. If not, straight arms, no problem. Having a rest if you need to. You don't even need to let the knee fall out sideways. You can keep the right toes facing forward. But wherever you are, deep, slow, steady breaths for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So if you're on your forearms, we're coming up onto straight arms. Everyone bring the knee back, bring the sole of the foot to the floor, and we'll square those toes to face forward. Obviously bringing it into a hamstring stretch. So we're going to take the weight back now as we begin to straighten the right leg. Hips back, right leg straightens. Then moving the hands back, hands on the floor for balance. And then don't worry if there's a little bend in that right knee. This is a big old hamstring stretch, but really work the toes back and maybe drop the chest to deepen the posture. I mean, again, you can come down onto forearms if your hamstring allows you, just an option. Okay, just holding it here. And this is quite important for an exit from Bhujapidasana, a firefly pose, which I don't know if we'll look at today, but we may. So that is a transition posture from Bhujapidasana. Okay, then from here, straighten the arms, bring the weight forward, and then just step yourselves back into all fours. Lovely, give your hips a shake, do what you need to do, get some sensations back into the legs, and then straight away we're just going to pop over to the other side. So fingers spread underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Let's move through this sequence together slowly, okay? So left foot to the outside of the left hand, and this time we're going to be scooching that right knee back. So to begin with, and it's always good to start in a slightly gentler variation, rather than throwing yourselves into like the hardest one and hurting yourself. Better to start gently and work up. So to begin with, we'll keep left leg stayed sucked into the arm. We'll keep the left foot on the floor, toes face forward, hips sink, and chest lifts. Again, if that right knee feels a bit sensitive, feel free to pad the knee out just a little bit maybe. Okay. And then just holding it here. Passive posture, but by no means an easy posture. Big old intense stretch. Opening up into the left hip, inside of the left thigh, right hip flexor groin, and we'll just hold it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Now, staying here, or if you want to deepen the posture, be mindful of your left knee. You're going to turn the left toes out 45 degrees. Inhale, then as you exhale, maybe let the left knee travel out to the side so the inside of the left foot lifts. You don't have to let the knee fall. Even if you've turned the toes out 45 degrees and pressed down through the foot, it creates a deeper stretch in that left hip. Again, not something we're forcing, so you cannot force that left knee down. This is just a patience game. Holding it here, noticing the differences between the sides for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, from here, if your body allows you, you can bend the elbows, sink down, maybe come down onto forearms. Up to you. Finding a position that is comfortable enough to be still in. Alright, so something that you're able to be still in for 5, that's usually a good sign, or something you can breathe in. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. From here, straight arms if you're on forearms, sole of the foot back down, toes face forward, and then bringing it into that hamstring stretch by taking the hips back as you begin to straighten the left leg, walk the hands back and peel the left toes back as well. Drop in the chest, maybe forearms if you want a deeper hamstring stretch. And do not worry if there is a bend in the left leg at this point, no problem. Just work with your body, do what you can. Again, just making sure you can be still, you can breathe, and then working those left toes back. Okay, lovely. Then inhale forward, and then exhale back into all fours. And from here, we're just going to have a little rest in child's pose. Don't really want to, but we're going to have a little rest just to give your hips a bit of time to absorb that. So feet together, knees as wide as the mat, bum towards heels. Walk your hands forward. Keep the bum and the heels close together as you sink the body down. Now, if the hips are starting to open up quite a lot, you're more than welcome to come down chin and chest. But only if you can get the chest bone on the floor and only if the neck feels like elongated rather than crunched up. So just hold it here for a breath or 2. Nothing too crazy. Drawing the bum towards the heels. Okay. Alright, and then inhale, pop yourselves back up into all fours, and then straight away, I almost clapped, that would have been so rude. Straight away. Fingers spread underneath the shoulders, feet hip width apart. Let's tuck those toes and come up into downward dog. Beautiful. So feet hip width apart and parallel, head tucks under. Now, downward dog, we're not going to hold it too much. Drawing the thighs to the back of the room. But what I really want you to focus on is that connection of the hands to the floor. So fingers spread, pressing down into the mat. So there's a real upward push. No gaps underneath your hands. And the fingers face forward. Holding it here. Maybe tilting the bum up towards the ceiling to draw a deeper stretch in the tops of the legs. Okay, then from here, we're going to come into Malasana, Yogi Squat. So as you inhale, either step or jump your feet to the outside of the hands, and then sink your bum down to the floor. All right, so there's a lot of variations of this posture. So first of all, if your hips are a little bit tight today, you may be up on the toes. Absolutely fine, the heels do not have to touch the floor. If you're a little bit higher and you're up on the toes, you may want to keep your hands on the floor for balance. Absolutely fine. If you feel like you have the balance, or if you feel like you're able to bring your toes down, let's bring the hands into prayer. And then we're pressing the arms into the legs, and we're pressing the legs back into the arms. So opening up across the pelvis. And then we're trying to extend through the crown of the head. So the back is long and we're not rolling those shoulders forward. It can be quite tempting to get everything quite crunched up, but over time, trying to find that lift. Okay, doing a good job. Holding it here. Really good posture, obviously for hips and lower back. Don't worry, if you need to come out of it, come out of it, and obviously just do your best with this one. It's a tricky posture. But just very quickly I want to bring another little wrist stretch into it. So from here, let's bring those fingers to face down, and then as you inhale, draw your wrists up in towards your chest. I'm a little bit distracted because the bin men are here, and I'm very excited because the bin men haven't been for like, how often are you getting your bins collected at the moment? Wrong time to talk about this, sorry. But very excited because the bin men are here. Right, from here, turn the fingers to face up, we've gone red now. And then as you inhale, just push yourselves back up into standing. Lovely. But like I just need a minute. I did get a bit distracted then. Trying to chat to you about the bins in a squat. Give your legs a little shake. It's been a while since the bin men have come, I'm not gonna lie. Have a drink if you need to. Beautiful. Alright, so we're going to do 2 forward folds, we're going to do some lizard sets, and then I think we're ready to give this a go. Get my head back in the game. So these 2 forward folds are from Ashtanga. Really important. The squat that we just done and these forward folds combined are the sort of entrance point into Bhujapidasana. And this is a very good posture to do because the second forward fold we're going to stand on our feet. And again, just a great wrist stretch, something that's really going to help you get your hands flat on the floor for this arm balance. So stand with your feet hip width apart and parallel. Take your hands to your hips, and the first time round we're going to take the big toes. Bend the knees as much as you need to in these folds. So as you inhale, lift the chest, look up. And then exhale, fold forward. Like I said, bend the knees as much as you need to, and then take hold of your big toes, first 2 fingers and thumbs. Keep the thumbs off the floor. Now as you inhale, look forward again, lengthen. And then as you exhale, fold. Crown of the head closest thing towards the floor. Shoulders roll back towards the waist, and then arms come out sideways, but ever so slightly wrap back towards the shins. And then the weight forward into the toes, so we're not sinking back too heavy in the heels, and then hold it here. Breath steady. Lovely stretch up the back of the legs. Really good posture for your lower back. Just letting the neck relax, so no tension in the neck. Okay, and then as you inhale, look forward. Now this one is really the one I wanted to do. So from here, if you have the room, as you exhale, stand on your hands with your toes right up and towards your wrists. If this isn't happening, again, no problem, don't stress. Just take hold of the toes instead. Either way, as you inhale, look forward. And then exhale, fold. Same thing. So we're just taking the elbows out sideways, shoulders roll back towards the waist, and then feel the toes right up in towards the wrists here, bringing the weight forward. So we have got a wrist stretch going on. It's exactly the same as what we done earlier, but this time we're standing on the hands. Okay. So usually you forget about the wrist stretch because obviously there's a lot going on here for the back of the legs, the lower back. But there is a lovely wrist stretch going on. So upward lift again. See if you can use the hands underneath the feet to pull the body closer. A few more moments here. And then inhale, look forward. And then exhale, hands to hips. And then inhale, slowly come up. And then exhale, give your legs a shake. Lovely. So, I'm running out of time again. So I really want to just do these lizard sets real quick. So we're going to speed through them today, and then we are going to come to this posture. So I'm afraid the next part, the next five-ish minutes of this class might be quite tough. If you need to have a rest at any point, have a rest. So here we go. Legs together at the front of your mat. Ankles apart, lift the shoulders, allow them to fall back. And then inhale, swooping the arms up, looking up, so moving through a sun salutation. And then exhale, fold, hands to floor, drop the head. Inhale, look forward, lengthen, your choice. Exhale, step, jump back to plank. And lower till they press up on the floor. Inhale, back bend. And then exhale, downward dog. Alright, so from downward dog, we're going to come into plank. Making sure this is plank, making sure the bum hasn't sunk too low or hoiked up too high. And then on your next inhale, we're going to step the right foot to the outside of the right hand. Yes, okay. Lizard. So this is very similar to what we've done earlier, but instead the left knee is off the floor. Now if this does get a bit too much, feel free to drop the left knee. But if you are straightening that leg, that left leg, get it straight. Back of the knee comes up towards the ceiling, then drive through that back heel. And don't hoik the hips up. Hips sink down, okay? So the hips constantly sinking down towards the floor. Knee stays sucked in towards the arm, toes face forward this time. Breath steady. For 5, 4, 3, 2, get that leg straighter. And 1, okay, exhale, step back to plank. And then inhale, step your left foot to the outside of the left hand. Good. Then drive through that right heel. Keep the hips sinking low. Keep the chest lifting, looking forward. Big old stretch in the top of the right leg. For 5. Feel like giving time has helped me to stick to it. 4. Deep breaths. Otherwise I'll start talking about the bins again. 3. 2. And 1. Amazing. Exhale, step back to plank. Now from plank, just come down into your forearms, forearm plank. And then hold your forearm plank. So driving through the heels, getting the quads strong, pushing through the shoulders. We need the shoulders to be strong here as well. For 5. 4. Oh, this is hard. 3. 2. And 1. Beautiful. All the way down to the floor. Then inhale a back bend. And then exhale, downward dog. Lovely. Holding your downward dogs. So we're just going to do that once more. So as you inhale, come into plank. That would count as 1. Just holding your plank for a little while. Making sure it is plank. Bum's not up, bum's not down. One long line. And then as you inhale, step your right foot to the outside of the right hand again. Lizard. Here we go. So, really driving back through that left heel, getting the hips low but that leg straight. Keeping the right knee staying sucked in towards the arm, right toes face forward. If possible, chest is lifting. Breath is steady. And then you also have the option this time, if you fancy it, to bend the elbows, maybe come down onto your forearms and sink a little bit deeper. Up to you, up to your body. If you've sunk down onto your forearms, you are looking straight down now. And then wherever you are, we're holding it for 5, 4, get that left leg straight, 3, 2, and 1. So if you're on your forearms, you're coming back up onto straight arms. And then exhale, step back to plank. And then inhale, left foot to the outside of your left hand. Staying on straight arms to begin with, driving back through that right leg. Left leg stays sucked in, hips are sinking low. Breath is steady. And then you also have the option maybe of bending the elbows, maybe coming down onto forearms. But if you come down onto forearms, make sure that right leg stays as straight as possible. Holding it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Straight arms. Back to plank. Hold your planks. Now, this time, you're either going to come down into forearm plank or you're going to hold a very low press up chaturanga. So up to you. You either come down onto your forearms or lower to a very low press up. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower, lower, lower. Oh my God, that was for me more than anything. Then inhale, a back bend. Then exhale, downward dog. Hold your dogs. Maybe pedal it out. Oh my God, Liz, it's been a while. Okay, and then from here as you inhale, we're just going to step the feet between the hands, look forward. Exhale, drop the head. And then as you inhale, swooping the arms up, coming up. And then exhale, arms by your side. I need a minute. Just need a minute. Ooh. So hopefully you're feeling that work in the groin. We've really smashed the groin and the hips to bits today, so should be feeling it. You can have a little drink. This is a good point for you to have a drink as well. Bhujapidasana. Yes. So, the first thing we're going to do is a little bit of prep. We're going to just do a little bit of prep, and then we're going to come into the posture. And we're going to come into it slightly differently, because I've tried a couple of ways of coming into this, and I feel like I'm still trying to figure out the best way, but I've got a new way to try. Again, Kino has helped me really vibing her today. But the first thing we're going to do is a little bit of prep, okay? So we're not going to come into the posture yet. I'm going to show you what this prep looks like. So watch me just for a second. So with this prep, obviously it requires a lot from the hamstrings and the hips and the groin, obviously. So we're going to basically come down into a forward fold. Okay, the feet are hip width apart, maybe slightly wider. And this is what we're going to do for the prep. We're going to lift up one foot, coming up onto the right toes in this case. And then I'm going to take the back of my right calf, and then I'm going to wiggle my shoulder underneath the leg as much as possible. And then I'm going to plonk that right heel down. Same thing with the left side. I'm going to pick up onto my left toes, take hold of my left calf, wiggle that shoulder under, and then set that foot down. I'm holding onto my calves here, really important. And then, as I inhale, I'm going to see if I can straighten the legs. Obviously I can't straighten them all the way, but just straighten them a little bit. And then I'm going to relax. And then I'm going to inhale, straighten. And then I'm going to relax. And then I'm going to do that once more. And then I'm going to relax. Okay? Yes! So, don't worry if you're like, Ashleigh, no, in way, not happening. You look stupid and I'm not doing it. Don't worry, just give it a go. You don't have to do things perfectly. Who does things perfectly? No one does things perfectly. Just have some fun and give it a go. Promise, you'll have a great time. So from here, I'm gonna come into that fold. So this is just prep. We're not coming down, not sinking the bum down yet. So feet hip width apart, maybe slightly wider for this. And then just come down into a forward fold. All right, here we are. We are ready. Okay, so here we go. Let's do this prep together. So pop up onto your right toes. Take hold of your right calf. Wiggle that shoulder underneath as much as possible, and then plonk that right heel down. Keep hold of the right calf. Then do the same thing the other side. Plonk up onto your left toes. Take hold of the left calf. Wiggle that shoulder under as much as possible, and then plonk that left heel down. You might need to do that a couple of times. Either way, when you're done, we've got hold of the calves. Then as you inhale, see if you can straighten the legs. Press into the calves and work those shoulders under. And then exhale, relax, just lower the bum a little bit, bend the knees. And then inhale, lift, straighten the legs. And then exhale, lower. And then inhale, lift. Exhale, lower, lovely. Once more, inhale, lift. Really good prep for something called Kamasana as well, Supta. And then exhale, lower. Beautiful. Now just untangle yourself, hands to floor, bend the knees. And then just maybe make your way onto the floor, or you can come up to standing, up to you. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. Just give your legs a shake. So that's a good prep. That's fun. Now you can come into Bhujapidasana from that posture. So you would repeat that posture, and then after you've done the prep, you would keep the hands on the floor and you would just sit back. But we're going to try something a little bit different today. So watch me, this is what we're going to do. This is thanks to Kino. So from a low squat, I have tested this, it does work. It's very similar to what we've just been doing, so just watch me. So from a squat, we're going to pop up into that same position that we were just working with really, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to lift the heel, get the shoulder underneath the leg, so exactly the same, but this time we're going to put the hand underneath the foot, and then we're going to stand on the foot, all right? And then we're going to do the same thing the other side, and then we're going to see if we can get the hand underneath the foot, and then we're going to stand on the foot. So this is a little bit tricky, but I feel like this might be for us because a lot of people struggle to get the hands flat, and this is one way you can get the hands flat. So if this isn't happening, I want you to just come back to the prep and practice the prep. But if you manage to get your shoulders under, and you manage to get your hands flat on the floor, and you're managing to stand on your feet, all you do is sink the bum down. That's all you do. You don't need to do anything else. And then you see if you can just cross the right foot over the left, hold it here. So if you're doing that, you're in the position to do it. So if you manage to cross the feet, maybe you want to just keep the feet on the floor today, or maybe you want to pick the feet up off the floor. The elbows are bending ever so slightly, so we've got a shelf to sit on, and the feet are off the floor. Now, this is called shoulder pressure pose. So you need to squeeze your legs against your arms. Otherwise, all you are going to do is slide down your arms like that. Okay? So, when you're in it, squeeze your legs against your arms. Create that resistance to keep you up. Now, if you cannot, stand on your hands and get your hands flat. Not a problem. Keep practicing the prep posture we done, all right? Otherwise, you're ready to come into it and we'll do it together. Please, 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 this is a bugbear of mine, do not have your hands facing back. If you cannot get your hands flat on the floor, you're not ready for the posture and you need to stay in the prep. I don't get mad like this often because I like to let everyone try, but do not put your fingers facing back. If you have your hands back and you fall back, which happens a lot in this posture while you're figuring it out, you will break your wrists. Don't do it, all right? Even having the hands out to the side, slightly sort of, you know, maybe a bit more okay, because if you fall back, you're not gonna snap your wrist, but don't have them out to the side like that, all right? Maybe very slightly to the side, definitely forward, very slightly to the side, no, not back, and no, not at like a 90-degree angle. I say this because I love you, and I don't want you to hurt your wrists. So if you cannot get your hands flat on the floor, you're not ready for the posture yet, you stay in the prep. If you can, great. If you can't get your hands on the floor, do not have the fingertips facing back just because you can do it. It's not the posture. And I say it honestly because I love you. I don't want you to hurt yourself. So let's just try this together. So that's it. But like how the moan, the bin and the moan. So from here, come down into a little squat. So we've already done the little squat. You don't have to have the heels on the floor here. If you're up a bit higher, fine. We're going to come up a little bit higher anyway. So just lift the hips a little bit. All right. So from here, same thing. Take hold of the right calf. Come up onto the right toes, work that right shoulder under, place your hand underneath your foot, and then see if you can put your foot on your hand. Now if at this point the hand isn't flat, maybe keep the hand on the right calf and just work the prep. If the hand's flat and you're managing to stand on your hand, let's try the other side. So taking hold of the left calf, coming up onto the toes, working that left shoulder under, hand underneath left foot, drop the heel. Again, if the hand is not flat, then you need to just come and take hold of the calf and work the prep. Do not place your fingers facing backwards. Now, if you're standing on your hands, fab, all you do is sit down. Keep the hands underneath the feet. All right, this is fun, isn't it? Now, if you're working the prep, beautiful, amazing, work the prep. If you're standing on your hands, you sit the bum down. Now from here, very slowly, just shuffle the feet towards one another. See if you can cross your right foot over your left foot. Now before you lift the feet, squeeze the legs on the arms and then very slowly pick the feet up off the floor. And then hold it here. If you're working the prep, work the prep, you're superstars. If you're balancing, amazing. If you're keeping the foot down, amazing. We're all at different stages. Wherever you are, keep doing it. For 5, 4, 3, keep squeezing the arms. 2, and 1, okay? To come out, just place the feet to the floor, come forward, stand up, so you can get your hands out, and then everyone's just gonna sit down and come onto their backs. Beautiful, hug your knees into your chest. Back of the head on the floor, making those circles. Again, you might wanna just do some wrist rolls, go wild. So yeah, I mean, number one thing is getting the hands down. It's so hard. So if that didn't happen for you, don't worry about it. Just work the prep. They will come down with enough practice, I promise. Absolutely promise. But you never want to like just try and force your way into a posture, because you know this posture especially could end up hurting yourself a little bit. So better to stay in the prep. Yeah, lovely, then take the feet to the floor. So we're just going to finish with one little twist, run over slightly, but I think it might be quite nice for the back, especially after all these forward folds we've done. So all we're going to do, feet and knees together, arms out wide, palms down, and we're just going to lift the feet up off the floor a few inches. Take a big inhale here, and then as you exhale, just let the legs fall over towards the right. We've done a lot of like forward foldy type stuff, so this should feel quite nice. So legs are just falling over towards the right. Turn and look over your left shoulder, and the only effort in this posture is to keep that left shoulder down. No effort in the legs, no effort to get the legs to hit the floor, no effort to keep the legs together if they want to fall apart. Just sinking into the posture, totally relaxed. Okay, then inhale back to center, and then as you exhale, legs towards the left. Turn and look over your right shoulder, keeping that right shoulder down, really relaxing the posture, just having a rest. Just having a rest. I did promise you a good rest at the end, but I'm afraid we were too busy doing stuff. Okay, beautiful. And then inhale back to center. Now, we're going to come into Shavasana. If you want to carry on doing a couple of line twists, you can just keep letting your legs fall to the right, fall to the left. Otherwise, just lying flat on the floor, letting the legs be straight, hands a little way away from the body, palms up. Again, you can have the knees bent if that feels better. Finding a position you can be still in, taking a couple of deeper breaths, maybe breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth with a sigh, letting all the muscles relax. So we have done so much hard work today, especially with the hips, the groin, wrists as well with that arm balance, hamstrings. So we're really a full body posture. So just rest in Shavasana, let everything go. Okay, and you can stay in Shavasana for as long as you want, but I've run over a little bit, so I'm going to probably wrap this up now. So you can take a cat stretch if you're coming out, then just hug your knees into your chest. I feel, look, I know what happened. I just heard my granddad open the door and sort of creep his little head round, because he's like, you need to be done on the dot, because he tries to work. Just telling you my life story, so I just heard him creep round. So if you're in Shavasana, stay in Shavasana, have a great time. Otherwise, I'm gonna go now and let him out from his room so he can roam free. Have a lovely rest of your day, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. We're doing a breakdown for Janu A, B and C tomorrow, so really, maybe like if you're really into Ashtanga, definitely come and check it out, because those 3 are quite complicated hip openers again. So we'll be doing some hip stuff tomorrow, and I hope you managed to do that okay, and if not, don't worry, keep giving it a go, and any questions let me know. Right, I best go. Right, see you later, bye. Ooh.